Mike McCool here. I'm in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today is Sgt Laura Gomez from the Warren County Sheriff's Office. And of course, everyone knows Captain Jeff Holzbauer from the Sheriff's Office as well, a representative of our Sheriff Mark Butler. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about dogs. And Sgt Gomez here has brought their newest hound, drug-sniffing dog, here with us today. And not really, but you'd be surprised the kind of dogs they use in law enforcement. They use all kinds to do it. But today you're going to talk to us about, the hot weather and the temperature and dog tags and all sorts of stuff. So why don't you go ahead and start and tell us what's the most important thing?
One of the most frequent calls we get this time of year are pretty much dogs and hot vehicles. Most everyone who travels with their pet loves their pets. That's why they take them with them. They'll run into the grocery store for a few minutes, and then they'll forget because they're inside. It's cool. So the biggest thing right now, if you're traveling with your pet, there's so many people taking advantage of online pick up. Placing an order online and then picking it up outside, so you won't even have to go inside the store. But even with cracking the windows on your vehicle, it can get to temperatures way over 100 degrees in just a matter of minutes, and your dog will suffer a heat stroke. So when you can, it's best just to leave your dog at home. Or maybe have someone with you that can sit in the car or take advantage of the services that we have right now.
Yeah, you see that a lot. People treat their animals like their kids.
Yes.
And I've seen people take some drastic actions to break into a car that had a dog left in there because the temperatures are really hot.
So if you see a dog in a vehicle and it's panting, or if it looks like it's distressed, you can call 911 or you can call the sheriff's office and we'll respond. We do have tools to get into vehicles and things like that to remove the dog safely.
Yeah, they really do. They can't quite take as much heat as a person does. They don't have the system to.
No, their bodies are made where they can't sweat like we can. So they pant and things like that. So if you can travel with cool water, and things like that for them to drink.
I've seen people leave their cars run with the air conditioner going.
And we do get a lot of calls where people actually have left their vehicles on with the AC, which is fantastic. So.
Right, but all of a sudden you see this car running and you don't see the dog, you're thinking, what's going on there?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you see a dog in a car and you're concerned about it, by all means call. That's what we're here for.
And how about the tags? Now, I notice your dog has a tag.
Yep. So we got these really nice tags about 2 years ago.
Oh, it's got a QR code on it.
And that's the great thing about it. If you go to the treasurer's office, it'll look like this when you purchase it. And it has a website on it where you register your tag. So your dog gets its own profile. You only put in the information you would want someone else to have access to.
Sure.
If you're not computer savvy and things like that, there is, of course, the sheriff's office number on it. So you can call and then we can try and get the dog back to its owner that way. The advantage to these dogs is there's always microchipping, which is amazing because it's inside your dog. But not everyone has access to a microchip scanner. With these here, all you have to do is if you have a QR scanner on your phone,
right?
And most people have smartphones, is you simply put it up to the back of the tag, scan it, and then it goes to Pet Hub, which is the company that makes these.
There's your dog's name, information, the owner.
Yep. And it goes right to a picture of the dog. You can also list if it has seizures, medical problems, things like that. So
it's clever.
You can get the dogs back home as soon as possible.
It's kind of it's like a safe way to chip your dog in a way.
Yes, but we don't want to take away from microchipping in any way.
No, that works. Because tags and collars come off.
But yes, they do. They do. But the great thing is these are pretty indestructible, and by law, you're required to have one for any dog that's 4 months of age.
So this is in place. This is the new dog tag.
Yes.
Instead of our typical tag that we've had in the past, this is what you get now.
Yep, and it's the same price that they've always been. They're pretty. They're pretty.
They are pretty. Let me see that right here. Look there. It's got the county logo on one side right there. Can you zoom in on that, Mark?
And they're durable. And the best thing about them is that not just a tool for us to get your dog back home, but if someone in your neighborhood finds your dog, they can help you get it back home too.
And these are heavy duty.
They're pretty sturdy.
Oh, that's great. That's a good tool.
Yeah.
Was that your idea, Sergeant Gomez?
I actually went to, yes, it was one of them, but I actually went to a conference and there was someone there.
And you said, this is a great idea.
Yes, it
we'll
is.
share that. That's
Yes.
great. And see, it got implemented. And
It did.
And that's right. You got an idea, speak up. I mean, you never know when they're going to do that. So,
Yes.
so talk about, we're going to talk about other things in your dog. So this is not a drug dog then?
This is not a drug dog.
Well, they can smell steak
this-
and hamburger and things like that, but
Yes, no, Chihuahuas are pretty resilient. They don't know their size. They think they're German
oh
Shepherds.
no, they do. Isn't that amazing?
So she's pretty protective, but
Yeah.
she's also really relaxed. And
they're brave little dogs.
but I did acquire her through being in animal control for so long, and so she came along with me today. But the big thing is with dogs right now with the heat, I want to make sure that they have proper shelter. They have to have a dog house and it has to be in the shade. And the big thing is a lot of people will make dog houses out of anything. Really can, as long as they actually have 3 sides to them, a roof, of course, and their feet can't slip through the bottom of them. They have to have some type of platform. And the biggest thing is that they do have shade. And they can't conduct heat. So if you have a dog house that's plastic and it gets pretty hot in there, make sure it's in a well-shaded area so that they can get cool if they need to.
It's really a shame, though. People have pets and then just leave them chained up in their backyard and basically go out there and throw the water and the food in the bowl, and that's the end of it. You see
Yeah.
somebody for 30 seconds a day if you're lucky.
Yeah, it's a sad life for some dogs. We do have a tethering ordinance, which is fantastic. And so if you do have a dog and you have to put it on a tether, it has to be on a tether for no more than 4 hours if it's fixed, and it has to be on a runner no more than 12. So we do check on things like that. And then the big thing with that, too, is that they always have water available.
Right. When you mention that in the car, I know some people that take their dog and in the cooler weather, they don't never take them out in the hot weather. They always take a bowl of water. They always have a watering thing in the car with
Yes,
them.
they
Water
do.
their dog. Yeah, 'cause that's how they
They cool
control
themselves.
their temperature. Yeah. All right.
And I was going to say, so the big thing with the dogs having water, some people talk to us about how their dogs will knock the water over. You can actually dig a hole in the ground and place a 5-gallon bucket down inside of it, so it'll help from the dog knocking it over.
Right. Good idea. Good idea. Now, Jeff, you want to talk about the next step up in dogs, real dogs, right?
Well, we
Big dogs.
Big dogs.
big dogs. I want to hit on something before we leave that side of it. The Humane Society here in our county, do they accept donations from people in the county?
Yes, absolutely. Our shelter is 100% funded primarily by donations. They are our county pound, and the county does give them some funds towards that, but then everything else is operated on donations. And they do have great things like they have a hand and paw fund. So if there are people that are financially struggling, maybe they need some vet care or assistance in some ways, they can reach out to the Humane Society.
We'll put a plug in for their wagons for dragons.
That's right. And that's coming up in October.
That's right. That's right. So
what about people that don't have money to give, but maybe they have some time that they could
Yes,
maybe help?
so
is that
the
an
shelter
option?
does have a program for volunteers, and they also always are looking for great foster homes for pets. So you can contact the Humane Society and become a foster or go through their orientation in order to be a volunteer.
Is there a way to look somewhere to see what animals are up for adoption or that need homes?
Yes, they have. They usually post them on their Facebook page regularly, or also they have a website there for the Humane Society of Warren County.
Okay, good.
anything else you want to say, Jeff?
I just wanted
He's
to make
taking over.
I just wanted to make sure that
And they do have a rabies clinic coming up this fall in November. The spring got canceled because of COVID.
That's good.
I guess now on
to the big
now
dogs.
on to the big dogs.
That's okay.
The sheriff has really stepped up in a great way to enhance the ability of law enforcement to move forward in our community. And what he's done is he has implemented a program for our K-9s in our office to grow it, to make it better. We have gotten several animals, and they are well-trained animals. We've acquired some bloodhounds. We've acquired bomb detection dog, which has several sniffs to it that it will locate firearms. It very, very well trained. And might I add to that, the handlers of these animals are top notch. They're very squared away, driven people. So the sheriff has really stepped up in a big way to help protect his community, and so that is a good thing. We are replacing some older animals that have been in our department.
Yeah, well, in dog years, they put in 20 years, but about 7 or 8 years, I think, is about the life of an animal like that, as far as to be able to do a really top-notch job.
And I can tell you, we do have a few now that are there. They're good animals, but we have to, like humans, we have to be replaced at some point.
That's right. We wear out, don't we?
That's exactly right. So that's kind of where we are. We did have one or two that when we first came into office that the decision was made to retire them. And that went very smooth. So there we are.
Well, if you've never seen a dog work in law enforcement, it's really something to watch. We went up here to the Border Patrol and to the dog training place up on the hill there and last year or two and watched a demonstration, and it's really something. And to see them actually in the field working, it's something that a dog can do that a human just can't do.
Yeah,
and their nose, my gosh.
Yeah, I can smell dinner when it's being made, but I can't smell the ingredients in the dinner. So
yeah, that's true. You know when it's time to eat, but
yeah, that's about all I can tell you. They're going to tell you if you're smart enough to follow those trained animals around, they're going to lead you to what you need to do.
And it's now the courts accept the hit on the dog as better than your witness of it. I mean, they know that they are 99.9%. If the dog hits, there's drugs in there, or there's bombs or whatever the dog is sniffing for.
Yeah, and I think that's been one of the biggest points that the sheriff has tried to make, is that we have the ability to find people that are lost or that are distressed, and that are hurt, and they're not known exactly where they are. So, and the other good side of that is those animals that are trained to do that. If we have some bad situations, those animals can step right in and do far more of a tracking job than everybody in this room could do.
Sure.
It's been a good point to move on.
It's one thing to use the technology, but this is technology. And it works, and they just can't. It's hard to beat. Just hard to beat.
Very effective.
But it takes a good trainer. It takes training. That's one thing the sheriff has stressed during his campaign in this last year, is about training the force to really be top notch, just in dog handling and in crowd control and just how to get along with people. I know that's a really thing that he's been pushed that training.
We've started. Let me say it this way: we have started some training. There's a lot more to come. And like anybody, when you stop and you look at things that need to happen, training is an ongoing thing. It's a long process. It's an evolving process, and that's where we all need to know that it's going to continue. That we're not just going to train one time and that be the end of it. So it's a process.
Well, I was watching that SpaceX launch of the astronauts and they were talking about training, and they just looked like they're so cool, like they knew. He said these people, those two astronauts, have trained thousands of hours. They have run through the simulator hundreds and hundreds of times. That makes it look so easy, but they could do it in their sleep because they've trained for that one thing.
And
that's what training does. It makes you prepared so that you'll respond and act in your training. You're not going to do something that gets people hurt or yourself hurt or damage something.
And that's part of the whole law enforcement training. It's a second nature, and anybody that has season on them is going to realize when things start to go south or you're questioning what's going on, you revert back to your training
Exactly.
very, very quickly, And that's the point in it, is so that everybody is on a constant page all
That's
the
right.
time.
It's like in the military when they teach you to jump, you don't turn around and say, "Well, how high do you want me to jump?"
Everybody's jumping.
They're jumping, exactly.
right.
That's right. We know what to do because of the training. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to know, well, why? The why is already, that's not the question. That's later.
That's right. That's on the look back.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's the quarterback,
That's right.
armchair quarterback training there. Well, Jeff, it sounds like the sheriff has been busy in your training. Laura's got the dog thing under control. How many? By the way, how many animal control officers do we have in the county?
We have 4. There's Deputy Unruh, Deputy Nations, myself, and then a Deputy Cook.
Well, you see them around. It's, of course, you do the whole county for the town and the county.
Yes, so animal control picks up in the town and the county. And we're not just, we don't go around just picking up dogs and things like that. So we do animal investigations for animal cruelty and things like that. And then we also do a lot of education.
Okay, good.
It's kind of like social services for your pets.
Well, in the future, we're going to talk about cats, but we won't go there this time. But we'll talk about cats.
I want to touch on something there that's so that everybody is aware. Everybody that's in this department, we're saying animal control, but I want everybody to know right now, everybody that has that uniform on is a deputy. They have the same authority and same power, and we force them to come and be a part of and do.
Right.
And so
You make them rotate through the steps there, right?
that's exactly right. Most of the time they're so busy with what they got, but it needs to be known that just because you see that pickup or you see that animal control,
Yeah, don't mean you're not going to press hard 5 copies, right?
that's exactly right, and it happens. Or the other side of it, we're going to go for a ride out here to the new regional jail.
Yeah,
So
right.
Anyway,
yeah.
it goes both ways.
Yeah, they're the real deal. I mean,
That's right. Yeah, don't feel like because you got animal control behind you, you can go ahead and break the law.
yeah, Laura's a really nice person, but don't make her don't get on the wrong side of it, right? Is that what you said?
That's right.
Wow.
Don't let this dog fool you.
Yeah.
But if we have a moment, I'd like to talk about fawns.
Sure. Oh, yes, that's right, because that's really a big thing.
Right now, Doe are out having fawns right now, and they leave them in strange places. We've had one left in a car wash before, and we've, if it happens, we've just simply moved it to a wood line or a grassy area. But they leave their babies basically so that they can go out and get food for themselves, and then also so that they don't attract predators. So if you see a fawn, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's without its mom. Sometimes they do get hit by cars, and another doe will pick them up. And Mother Nature's been doing it right for many, many years. Unfortunately, because of chronic wasting disease, rehabbers aren't allowed to take them. So the best thing to do is just leave them alone. You can call us or Department of Game and Inland Fisheries, and we'll respond and try and figure out the best course of action for them.
Right. I've
Yep.
seen a lot of that
Don't
on
take them home in your car.
Well, my 96-year-old mother-in-law, she lives with, Northwood's Law, and that on the Animal Planet, she watches that, and you see this fawn issue and other animals, possums and everything
Oh,
else
yeah.
that people, they think it's abandoned and the mothers abandoned them, and they really haven't. And so people think they're doing a good deed.
Yes.
And really,
Yes, they do.
but there's people on there, they notice they call these rehabilitators, people that have been selected and trained to take care of these animals and get them back into the wild. It's really,
We're lucky here because we have Blue Ridge and then Wildlife Vet Care for injured animals, but they just unfortunately can't take fawns right now.
right. But it's a big thing, and just leave them alone.
Yep,
And
that's the best thing.
We had another thing was like baby bear cubs. If you see a baby bear, there's mama bear nearby.
Somewhere. Don't feed them cheeseburgers.
So that's right, exactly. Quit feeding. You wonder why? Well, I feed them every day. Well, stop. Stop doing that. So, well, again, I really appreciate you guys coming every month. They've been coming every month here, and the invitation is always open. If something new comes up, you're welcome to stop by any time. And appreciate it. Say hello to the sheriff for us. I seen him the other day at the NAACP meeting, and he did a really good job and had some really good comments to make there. So
We've been, I feel like, from one end of the county and back 300 times this last week.
Right.
Things have been a little hectic. We've had a train go sideways.
That's right, right.
It kind of messed things up for us. I do have to say, the law enforcement from other agencies and the train company couldn't have asked for a better situation. They, working with the train company, top-notch people. They are extraordinarily trained too. They responded in a massive way. Couldn't have asked for anything better.
Right.
But good situation. Bad situation, good people to deal with. So.
Mark took his camera out there and videotaped the accident. It's amazing how just come off the tracks. I mean, we'll find out why, but there's a lot of reasons. But it's just amazing that massive weight and the cleanup and changing and moving those cars. How that happens. I mean, it's just amazing work.
It schooled me on several aspects of it, and like I say, the train is up and going and moving, and yes, they've got little things there to finish up and clean up, but what an amazing crew.
Well, the sheriff called me and said right after that, and he said, "Can you put that up real quick and say about Route 55, we're going to detour some traffic." So I appreciate the sheriff thinking the Royal Examiner had some influence in the community. So. But we did. We put it right up, so that was great.
I can tell you, there's a lot of people that pay attention to what's out there, and they're looking for that local influence. So it's a good thing.
We appreciate all our viewers and readers, and we hope that we can get our community news out to people and let them decide good or bad. That's why we put these videos out without sound bites. We want people to form their own opinions and see all the information, and then when there's facts, and it's like our government meetings. We don't just take out a 30-second clip of something that sounds really good and you don't hear the context of it. And I think that's what's missing from our media today, is where we live in sound bites. Someone said, "Well, can't you just give me the highlights so I don't have to watch it?" No, I'm not going to do that. And that's one of the reasons we created the Royal Examiner, because we want to hear the news that's behind the news that you get everywhere else. And I think that's important. It's just like finding out things about our dogs and dog tags. And these are things that you just can't write in a 2-minute script, or a 60-second ad doesn't really give it detail.
Back on the other side of all that, that is one good thing that the sheriff is working on. We are stepping through all of our policies and all of our procedures, and we're doing it in accordance with what the state and the national government says is needed. And we do have a good sound way of reviewing all of them. We do have a public review board of that also. And it seems to be going very well. We're trying to get things in place to be accredited again, to have that done, which allows a few things to happen after it's done. Outside monies and accountability for every step and every action that every person in that office makes. So, and that was something that was pushed from the very beginning, is making sure that everybody in that department is accountable for everything that they do, for one big reason: the safety and the well-being of our community and the people that are there. So,
well, we appreciate all the hard work that the animal control officers do, and our regular deputies, we call them. The ones that aren't specialized and trained as highly as you are.
Well, I wouldn't say all that, but...
Well, we got to give them a little dig every once in a while. But again, really appreciate it from the deepest I can say, that I really appreciate everything that the Sheriff's Office does, and the Police Department. Chief Cale and McGillis has done a great job as well.
Wonderful man, wonderful department.
That's because he worked at the Sheriff's Department for so many years, right?
That's probably what it was. That's probably exactly.
He got indoctrinated in the right way first before he came over to the dark side. Oh, excuse me.
There you go.
Well, we appreciate it. Really, we do appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Well, really appreciate it. And again, your dog was very well behaved. You did a good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like
my baby.
Wake her up there.
I know.
All right. Again, thanks a lot, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Appreciate it.